All right, let's get started. We're going to get started. Thank you guys so much for those of you that have registered and logged in. I'm pretty sure we'll have folks logging in as we go. The participation list just keeps growing, which is awesome. On behalf of Aspen, thank you so much for joining our webinar. It is a 1-hour Ask Me Anything session with my two lovely guests. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rebecca Mazer. I am the senior manager for the academic and relations team. We're basically part of the academic recruiters. So we do a lot of the lunch and learns and the vendor fairs and all sorts of fun stuff. And we're basically on board so that we answer you guys' questions and make sure that we connect you with, doctors. And we just want to make sure that we are open communication for, if and when you guys have any questions about joining Aspen. So we will get started. We have our two amazing guests that were so kind enough to jump on our webinar tonight. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves and then we'll get started with the Q&A. But just really quick, guys, you're going to see me kind of going back and forth on my monitors because I have all the questions that you guys have submitted on one side, and we have quite a few. So we're going to try to get through as many as we can. And then right at the bottom, you guys should see a Q&A little box. For the participants and the attendees, if you guys want to ask any live questions, please feel free to jump in and ask any questions. We will answer those live. This is going to be super conversational, so if there's something that pops up, please don't hesitate to ask. So we'll get started. Do you guys want to jump in and introduce yourself? Dr. Morocco, I'll let you go first.
Okay, so I'm Blagina. I graduated from Western University, Illinois, obviously, 2020 May. I'm back in home in Michigan, Detroit area, and we were supposed to say a fun fact. So fun fact, I lived in 3 different countries within 1 year. So.
Oh, that's a really fun fact. Now you have to tell us where.
Albania, where I was born, and then Belgium for a little bit, and then US.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. Awesome. And you said you're working in the Michigan area.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, Mr. Man, you're next.
All right, so I'm Yusuf Tola. I also graduated in May of 2020 with Blagina from Midwestern. I am currently in Illinois, so training in the Palatine area, but eventually we'll be moving to Gurnee. And then a fun fact about me is that Blagina and I were roommates. So
I didn't know that. That is awesome. That's a really fun fact. I had no idea. Yeah. And this was during dental school?
Yeah.
The whole time or just for a little while?
2nd and 4th year.
Oh, I love that.
We broke up in the middle.
Don't ask about 3rd year.
We'll keep that to ourselves, whatever happened in 3rd year. All right, that's awesome. Okay, guys, I love it. So for those of you that just jumped on, again, thank you so much for being here. We do have a 1-hour Ask Me Anything session. We are going to get started. We have some great questions that were submitted. And again, if you guys have any questions that you want to pose to our awesome guest live, you guys can use the little box right under you that says Q&A. And we're already getting some in here. So we'll get started with the ones that come in as well as the ones that were posed. You guys had the option to submit questions beforehand, and I have quite a few of those. So I'll just kind of go back and forth. Ready? Okay, you're supposed to do your cheer. I'm just kidding. All right, so we'll get started. The first question that just populated on here, we're going to answer this live, is how prepared did you feel to enter an Aspen practice following graduation? So who wants to take that one?
I can go. Well, I started off as an assistant, so I kind of got nice, smooth and ride to see how other doctors do it, and my POP kind of trained me. So did I feel ready? No, I don't think you'll ever feel ready. I was nervous, kind of just seeing the pace as well, and not being there the last quarter because of COVID. I was just like, do I even have my hand skills? They don't disappear, so that's good news. But other than that, I think within the training time they allow you, initially I was like, oh my God, it feels like I'm back in school. Like my, other doctors taking a look at my work. And now that I'm sometimes on my own, I'm just like, I wish somebody could look at my work and just be like, yeah, this is good. So, I did have a DA tell me, like, I see new grads all the time and you guys, you're the most prepared I've seen. You know so much, and I credit that a lot to our school and how the training we got and all that. So.
That's good. Do you want to add anything, Joseph? How was your experience? Did you feel like you were prepared?
Yeah, I'll basically say the same thing. I just started training, so it's been very fresh. But the way that Aspen does it is that you have at least 4 weeks of training. And at least for the first week, you're basically shadowing, but it depends on the doctor that you're with. So I'm lucky enough is that the doctor is more hands-on, so I get to do whatever I feel comfortable with. But then at the same time, I still have the luxury of having someone there to ask questions. Or for example, yesterday I was doing a surgical extraction and I got stuck on a root. And then there was, the mentor there to ask and kind of help out with that. So I think you will be more ready than you think you are. It's kind of all a mental game, honestly, in the beginning. But definitely it's intimidating just being the dentist that the patients are depending on, and it's your opinion. So just familiarize yourself with treatment planning mainly, because I think that's what I find more of a challenge currently. But other than that, it's been okay so far.
I'm glad you brought that up with treatment planning, because I know that you just recently started,
Yes.
Dr. Morocco, with treatment planning. When you first started, were you working off of like the lead dentist or the owner dentist treatment plan before you got comfortable, or how did that work?
Yeah, so I was, because of the transition of some doctors coming in, sometimes I'm working off the treatment plan that even the doctor's not there, so I can't even ask questions. And that's often when I look if the patient's due for a periodic, or kind of just make my own judgment. I'm like, I don't see this cavity, or I see this cavity, and why did they treatment plan it? But I also, ever since pretty much day one, even when I was assisting, I was still going into treatment plans and working on them. And it's kind of cool now. I'm seeing those patients that I treatment plan and kind of seeing, and even some of them, like with small cases, I'm finishing up. So it's kind of a mixture of my POPs, other doctors, and my own treatment plans.
Oh, that's good. So you get to see the start and finish now of your patient. Yeah. That's awesome. All right. Love it. Okay. Let's go to some of the questions that we had posed through the online form. So I think this is a similar question. How long did it take for you to transition up your speed once you started working after dental school? So how long did it take for you to kind of get just acclimated, I guess, speed-wise?
I'm still working on it. Some days are a lot more rough than others. Like today, I did a crown prep in less time than I did in dental school, but asked me last week, and I'm just like, it was as if it was the first crown prep I ever did. Just took longer than it normally does, and that's just normal. I'm pushing myself because I do have another doctor with me usually, and if I'm falling behind, she kind of picks up the patients on my schedule, or we work together. So that's the way I'm kind of picking up speed, is just saying, you've never done 4 restorations in a row, but you're gonna now because you have somebody to back you up if you do fall behind. So would I say my speed's way better? No, not yet. I think I still have some time until, I feel that like less anxiety or less worry of, oh my God, am I behind or whatever. So it's been 3 months and I'm still working on the speed.
You got this. Now, do you have a certain amount of time that you have with patients, or is it whatever time you need for your cases? Do you have a time limit?
Yeah, no, not necessarily a time limit. It depends on what office I go to, since I go to like 4 different ones. Some of them ask me for my times, and the ones where kind of the POP is with me, it's within whatever the front desk put. And like I said, she can pick up my slack if I'm falling behind. But for other offices where it's just me, or it's just another associate, not a POP, I decide my times. So I'll be like, okay, an hour for 2 fillings, and they usually honor that. So.
Okay, awesome. A question just popped up. What does POP stand for?
Practice office.
Practice owner partner.
There we go. Right.
So really quick for our attendees, we have a lot of acronyms here at Aspen. You are going to hear all sorts of stuff, and you're going to ask what does that even mean? A million times. So POP stands for the Practice Ownership Program. It's basically our owners. So it's the owner of the office. We call them POP or POP, but it's basically the owner of the office. So that's what POP stands for. So did you have anything to add to that, Joseph?
No, I think she said it perfectly.
Okay.
It will take time to kind of get your speed up, and it depends on the office that you're at. But usually, just to mention something, once you start, or at least for me, there's basically like a binder that you kind of get of things that you, let me show you.
I love visuals.
This right here, new doctor
Yay!
orientation. And then in it here, there's basically a whole packet of each procedure and how much time you need for each procedure. And then they usually honor that. And if you're not happy with the times that you've been given or something like that, then there's always someone to talk to. And just to kind of let them know that you need this amount of time for this procedure. And they usually try and honor that as much as possible.
Awesome. So it's like your handbook / training book.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so we had another question that just popped up. What does your daily schedule look like? Do you guys have similar schedules?
I'm not sure.
So for me right now, since I just started training, I don't have my own column of patients to see. I'm basically seeing patients that the owner doctor or the managing doctor in that location usually sees. So what that looks like for the managing doctor or someone that has been there for a while, there's the main column, which is basically like your production, so your crowns, your fillings, your bridge, even extractions. Then there's another column, which is basically your new patients, but you don't see them all by yourself. Obviously, there's the assistants, there's the hygienist. You basically just go in there and do the new patient exam. And there's a third column, which is basically your kind of overflow, which is normally like a post-op or like a wax try-in, denture delivery, those type of things, which you also don't do all by yourself. There is the assistants that will help you with that. And you basically just go in, look at everything, basically make sure that everything looks okay. But for now, for me, is just popping in wherever the doctor needs help, or if there's a procedure that the doctor basically wants me to do, I kind of go in there. But I don't have a set schedule yet. Okay.
Is your schedule similar to that?
I have my own column, and I'm kind of being trained to be an associate in an office that's opening up in September. So I'm supposed to be there and opening it up and training the assistant. So it's kind of a little more, I dip into every column. This is the part where it's different from school, where I'm jumping in, my extractions numbing, and then jumping into my wax try-in and kind of back and forth. But like Yusuf said, the assistants do a lot. They're very helpful. So when you have really good ones, you got to treasure them, because without them, it doesn't flow as nice. But I run a production column, and then I jump in, me and the other doctors share the overflow and new patients.
Okay, awesome. All right, so let's see here. There's so many questions that are popping up. Okay, this is good. This is really good, guys. So one of the questions that came in from our online board was, how did you decide between corporate and private practice dentistry? And how did you decide on Aspen versus any other DSO? I'll let you guys both answer that. So whoever wants to take it first.
Well, Yusuf and I both went to Vibe, and I think then we were just kind of like, we already knew that's where we wanted to go with. Overall, how Vibe was set up, so organized, we're like, okay, this says a lot about the whole company. And it is true. I do feel like everything's has the Aspen way. There's an Aspen process. So I think whatever Aspen you go with, it's kind of similar. Like I've worked for a couple of POPs, so it's there. They do little things different, but I like that you can jump from even state to state, and it'll probably be similar. Yusuf sent me a picture, and they have the same picture of the bathroom as we do in Michigan. So it's very similar, and I liked that. I also chose DSO with just the fact that I don't have to run into opening my own practice right away, and the possibility that I can own an Aspen, and just the mentorship and all of that, it's been there. So
I love that. So really quick before you jump in, Yosef, I want to let people know what Vibe is, because a lot of students are just like, what is Vibe? So every year we host 2 to 3 Vibe sessions, which are an awesome opportunity for our D4s to come and get together. We invite anywhere from 100 to 150 D4s from all over the country. It's usually a 2 to 3 day event. We pick an awesome city, and then we fly you there. And then you just get to experience and submerge yourself in Aspen culture. So it's Aspen culture is a big deal. We talk about culture all the time because we want to make sure that people understand that, culture is very important to us, and just making sure that we play hard, party hard, but everybody's kind of on the same page. So, you have a chance to interview with multiple owners. You kind of, you get a state of the business address from Bob Fontana, who's our CEO. And you just kind of really dive into Aspen. And it's just an opportunity to really get to know who we are. And that way, when you do decide to make a decision on what you want to do after you graduate, you kind of have that in your back pocket of like, wow, this is what I was able to experience. I'm not sure if other DSOs do that. I think Heartland might have something similar. I haven't heard that it's as awesome as ours. I know you guys went to the New York one, right?
Yep.
And then you guys both signed at the New York Vibe?
I signed afterwards.
You signed after, and then Dr.
Through the Aspen culture, Lisa, my recruiter, went out of her way to even find me this job. There was no jobs available at the time, and she's like, listen, like, it's going to be part-time. I was like, I'll take it. And then it ended up being full-time anyway. So that's another thing with the culture, was just, willing to help.
Yeah, I remember, because I remember I met you, and you were like, I want to be in Michigan. And I reached out to Lisa, and Lisa's like, good luck.
Yeah.
He wants to be in Chicago or Detroit, right?
Yeah.
So, and she's like, I love this girl. I'm going to do everything I can to find her.
We're still friends. We talk all the time. So
yay, I love that. And that's kind of what the Aspen culture emphasizes on. So I'm so glad that we have you guys on board. You guys are 2 of my favorites. So let me jump on. Oh, really? I'll let you answer, Dr. Tola. We have tons of other questions, but I definitely want to hear.
I'll make it quick. Basically, I applied everywhere. I wanted to stay in Chicago, but all the private practices that I applied to, the minute they saw that I was a new grad, I didn't have an experience, they kind of just like said okay and never like called back. I also interviewed with Heartland and Aspen. It was kind of almost at the same time. And then with Aspen, one of the regional managers kind of got a hold of me through Rebecca, and then Corey Wall, who was also a recruiter, I believe, right? So my regional manager basically set me up with a person interview at an office in Bourbonnais, Illinois, which is like basically like 40 or 60 miles south of the city. And I went, and then I just did not like the office and how far it was. But she basically kept me in mind, and about a month after, I got a call from Jennifer saying that she has opportunities in Chicago that are open. And then she wanted me to basically go to the headquarters in Chicago to kind of talk to one of the practice owners here. And that's how it basically happened. I met with Dr. Breyer, who is the practice owner. And then she told me about Vibe, and I went to New York. And then after we saw how organized, as Blagina said, and how everything was set up, and you get to know so much more about Aspen just from being at Vibe. And we just both felt like there's room to grow in the company, and not just become a dentist. You can become an owner, or there's so much more that you can do at the company if you really wanted to continue, which I think was kind of a clear choice that we went with Aspen and a DSO. And I'm going to be honest with you, the other DSOs were a little shady, I'm not gonna lie. Aspen was like honestly like the most honest one. They basically told me what they expected out of me, and that's how it happened.
I love that. I mean, I've worked for another DSO, so I know, I'm not going to mention names, But yeah, like, you know, we've had conversations with a lot of different students that said, I interviewed with X, Y, and Z, and their contract was just, it was long. I didn't understand it. You know, they weren't very transparent. And we kind of, we want to make sure that you guys really, really know what's expected of you.
Yeah.
But we also want you to feel comfortable and grow and know that there's mentorship opportunities and know that there's people out there to help you, and there's a whole network of people. You can probably hear my baby crying. Sorry guys, it's bath time, so she's just like, ah. So I'm really happy that we have you on board, and Vibe is such an awesome experience. So for my D4s out there, I know it's a crazy time with COVID, and I'm really hoping that, you know, the world goes back to normal soon, because we have some awesome vibes planned for the future. So just, you know, keep that in mind. And for those D4s that are interested in learning more about Vibe, please reach out to me, because we can, you know, get you on our list. So that'll be awesome. Okay, cool. So we have quite a few questions that just popped up, guys. You guys are popular. You're popular today. I love it. Okay, so the next question that just popped up was, did you end up living or working in the area that you wanted to move to initially after graduation?
Yes.
Great question.
Yep.
With you, Dr. Morocco, because I know that you ended up back at home, right?
Yes. So I went to Vibe and I had interviews like they set up with POPs from different states, and they were great offers and they were very tempting, but I really, really wanted to come home, and I have my family here. And that's when Lisa kind of stepped in, and, you know, I think I signed with Aspen in February, and that was all because of her just going out of her way. So I'm in the Metro Detroit area. The farthest I am is right now, and it's for a short period of time. I drive about 53 minutes, but where I'm supposed to end up is like a 20-minute drive. So
awesome. And same for you, Dr. Tola?
Yeah. I wanted to stay in Chicago or around Chicago, and then basically Jennifer made sure that I stayed here, and then that I got what I wanted. And yeah.
Love it. Love it. Okay, next question. Are there ever a time when you feel like you don't know which direction to go in terms of how to proceed with a case or a treatment plan? Do you have a mentor with you day to day to help you with that? That's a good question.
So I've been left alone in the office. That's the only time I felt like I don't know which direction. And my POP is a text away. So I've sent her a picture of a panel. And I'm like, full over full, right? Question mark. She's like, yeah. So, I mean, things like that, they will happen. And the thing is, another POP, she introduced me to this group chat they have that there's other doctors, and she's a POP and she asks questions all the time. So there's always somebody. But always, most of the time, you should be an MCD and an associate. So I feel like even when I move into my permanent office, I'll have somebody, so it won't be kind of like just me at the end of the day. But of course, there's going to be times where you're like, I have no idea, you know, and am I making the right decision? Am I really pulling all these teeth? And that's just at the end of the day as dentistry.
Really quick, another acronym, right? MCD. So many.
That one.
So MCD is our managing clinical director. That's just another term for our lead dentist. So when you come on board, you usually have a mentor, whether it's your MCD or if it's your owner, your POP. They're the ones that kind of help you through the, you know, the day-to-day in your cases. But like Dr. Morocco said, once you're comfortable, you've been left alone, right?
Yep.
But you have an outlet to reach out to people. You can reach out to your mentor, you can reach out to your owner if you have any questions. So do you ever feel like you don't have those resources?
No, I always reach out to my POP through text. So like FaceTime me. She'll even like FaceTime me if you have a serious question right away. So it's there.
Okay, good. Awesome. All right, so another question here. If you don't feel comfortable doing a procedure, or if you do not agree with certain treatments, are you expected to do it? That's a great question.
I guess I'll go. It happened last week. There was an extraction on my column, and I looked at it and I'm just like, oh boy, like I didn't want to attempt it. If it was me treatment planning, I would refer it out. But obviously that the other dentist having way more years on me wanted to do it, and it was something she treatment planned before I even was in there to do it. So I was like, I don't feel comfortable doing this. I'm going to refer. She goes, just watch me. So I stepped in, and that's kind of where I changed the role into shadowing her or kind of assisting. I'll even jump in and, you know, relieve my DA and assist her so I can see the extraction. So it's never been anything that I didn't want to do. Like I said, now it's because I'm seeing more patients. They're mostly my treatment plans.
Awesome. Have you experienced anything like that, Joseph?
Yeah, actually today, there was a case that was supposed to happen, and I did not agree with the treatment that was presented, or I thought the tooth basically needed a root canal, in my opinion. But the dentist said, if you think that it needs a root canal, then that's your choice and that's how you would treat it. So I didn't really have to do it. And honestly, one of the first things that my mentor told me right now was, if you don't feel comfortable doing a treatment or a procedure, don't feel obligated to do it, because at the end of the day, it's your license on the line. So if you don't feel like doing a procedure or you don't agree, don't do it. They won't force you to do it, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. We
Yeah.
give you guys, full autonomy. And if there's something that you don't agree with, and keep in mind, there's dentists that went to different schools that practice differently, that have different opinions. So you might not agree with your MCD, and just speak up and say, you know what, I think I would have treatment planned it this way. And that's always open dialogue. So I'm glad that you guys have experienced that, and you're able to say, I don't feel comfortable doing that, or whatever the case is. So that's good. Awesome. Okay. All right, guys, we're going to try to get through as many of these as possible. So let's see. So how do you feel about the quality of service for patients at Aspen, given prior bad press about predatory financing? That's a good question. How do you feel about the quality of service that you're giving to your patients?
So I think the quality it's not an Aspen quality, it's the dentist that's doing it. So sometimes what I've learned is to slow down, and initially I was like, why is my work is not what I want to do? But then I realized that I was putting this fear in myself, speed up. And now that I've kind of slowed down, I'm like, if there's 3 fillings on the schedule and I can only get to 2, I can only get to 2. I'd rather do something good, because like Yusuf said, at the end of the day, it's my schedule, it's my license, and that's my work out there. So I don't want another dentist to look at it and be like, and I don't think I've had any issues with that. Like I said, I'm just told to push myself to where, now that I have backup. But I think I'm also supporting, listen, this one just took longer. I needed extra time to polish it and make it look prettier. I wasn't going to let him go out like that. So that's the most I've gotten out of that. So nothing too bad. Yeah.
If I can add, as Blagina said, it basically depends on the dentist, and you basically have to say, if your dental assistants are not up to par or something like that, you basically can say that they're not getting, that the dental assistants are not doing their job, and the patients are not getting the ideal treatment, let's say. But it all falls on the dentist that's there. And I also think that sometimes the rep might be just because of like the lower prices, but Aspen has so many options that they give to their patients, which is what I've learned in this short amount of time, is there's so many options that they could serve a larger population of patients that they might not be able to get dental treatment somewhere else. And there's so many like financing options and stuff like that. So the quality has been honestly great. You do dentistry the same way you do everywhere else. There is still high standards of dentistry to follow. So, yeah.
And I mean, we focus on patient satisfaction, right? So
yeah,
that's kind of falls into your pay as well. And the next question is asking about pay. So we'll kind of get into that here in a second, but it's your license. It's you guys are the ones that's doing the work. So I don't think there should ever be a time where you feel that the work that you're doing is less than, or, mediocre, or whatever the case is. Like you want to put your best foot forward. And we want to make sure that our patients are satisfied and that they're coming back and that they're happy. And, so at the end of the day, it is your license and you're doing the work. And if you don't have a quota or a limit or anything like that, you can take as much time as you need, with your patients to make sure that they're getting the work that they need, then by all means. So let's just elaborate. The next question here is, can you elaborate on your pay schedule? Is pay a daily minimum or is it based off production? If so, do they average your production for the whole pay period? This is a tricky question because I know a lot of our doctors are still kind of confused on how they get paid.
Yeah. I can answer it.
Okay, who wants to answer this one?
Not me.
Oh yeah, I'll try my best. So
Okay.
basically, once you sign with Aspen, you basically get a daily minimum. And that depends on the office and the owner and all that stuff. So that's between you and the owner who's hiring you. So that's number one. You always get a daily minimum no matter what you do, no matter how many hours you show up. So you're always guaranteed that minimum pay. Then what basically Rebecca was saying, that patient satisfaction goes into your pay also. So as an associate dentist going into Aspen, you get about 8 to 10% of the profit for the whole office. So basically whatever the office does for that whole month, hygiene, associate, and the other managing clinical director or the dentist that's with you, all of you combined, whatever profit you guys make at the end of the month, that's basically your share. And the 8 to 10% kind of depends on what the patient satisfaction is. It's basically like a 5-star rating. So the higher the rating you have, obviously the more percentage you would get out of the profit, which would basically be added as a bonus at the end of the month.
I love that. Do you want to come work for us?
Sure.
So you're spot on. I love that. You're spot on. So basically everything that you said is right on track. You get a daily guarantee, and that's going to be based off the office, right? It can be anywhere from $550 to $600, $650. It really depends on the location. And then you get a percentage of the office production after, cost and lease and all that jazz. So like you said, anywhere from 8 to 10%. It's kind of an incentive or a bonus, if you will, on top of your daily guarantee. So, and the great thing is that, I guess the question was production based. It's production of the whole office.
Yeah.
So if it's you, Dr. Tola, as an associate, you have your managing clinical director, say your office even has an endodontist that comes in, or maybe an oral surgeon that comes in, plus you have 2 hygienists. Everyone's production gets put into this honeypot. And then after everything's paid, you get a percent of that on top of your daily guarantee, or what you get the greater of the two, whichever is the greater of the two. I hope that answers that question. If anybody that posed that, if you have any additional questions, please reach out. I know it gets a little confusing. A lot of DSOs pay you on your own production, 30% of production or 30% of collection. And that's a little iffy, because if you're a new grad and you're only doing small cases or specific cases, you might not be producing as much as the lead dentist. Or the lead dentist might be taking all the bigger cases, right? And leaving you to do all the minimal stuff. So that can get a little tricky. So the way we do it, we have it set that way so that our new grads can get a taste of every single case, and there's no fighting for big cases. Have you guys experienced that?
I think, my MCD or the POP does obviously the harder stuff. I'm into more restorations right now, but I do get to jump into like some big extractions, and I've done full mouth and delivers the same day. So it's a good mixture, but yes, I do the little stuff more so.
Yeah. And then as you grow, as your hand skills grow, you'll get there.
Yeah.
So absolutely. Okay, awesome. So the next question is, what is the best part about working with Aspen? And on the other hand, what is your least favorite part about working for Aspen? So please be as honest as possible, guys. Who wants that one?
Okay. Best part is honestly the people. Like I've worked, I swear, for 5-6 offices, and there's not a DA that doesn't text me every day wanting to grab lunch or hang out. So I think that Aspen has a type of personality that they hire, or a type of kind of attitude, and I see that a lot in my offices. Which, like I said, lots of friends, doctor friends and DA friends. The part that I don't like, or that worries me, I guess, is just it's me personally. I'm a perfectionist, so in school I would be the one that would do 1 filling instead of 2. So but that's not a reality and that's not realistic. And that timing that we were given it's nowhere you'll go. That's not how it works. So kind of just the speed, going in every day and saying, okay, focus today and try to, go faster. And just that constant bettering yourself every day, waking up with that feeling it's a new thing. Any new job you go into you're going to have that feeling. So just that, I'm sure it'll go away in a few months, hopefully.
You'll be doing fantastic. You'll forget you ever said that.
I hope so.
Absolutely. All right. Dr. Tola, do you have something you love and something that you don't love so much?
Yeah. I think my favorite part is honestly the mentorship that's available and all the support that you get from Aspen. There is so many people that work for Aspen. There is so many people to contact if you need any support with anything. So there's my regional manager, there's my territory manager, there is a clinical director who basically helps with cases. So there's always someone to talk to if you have a problem, and they're always available and they're always happy to help. So I think that's honestly my favorite part of it. My least favorite part of it, I really don't have one yet. I literally just started like a couple of days ago. I did my training like online last week. So maybe like to me right now as a new dentist, my least favorite part of it is how busy the offices can get. But I feel like that's kind of also why, like one of the reasons why I chose Aspen is to gain speed and to be able to handle the schedule that would be thrown at me. So I haven't experienced it firsthand yet because the office that I'm currently at is more of a slower pace. And that's why I started my training at this office to kind of get my feet wet. So yeah, that's that. Good.
I love that. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. So a lot of people still don't understand that Aspen is owned and operated by clinicians, your PPs. And then Aspen Dental Management is who I work for. We are your support system, right? So we are the ones that help support you and your go-to or your network. And like you mentioned, you have a regional manager, you have a director, you have an office manager. There's so many tiers of support at the office. So, I mean, we're the ones that handle all the day-to-day and allow you guys to focus on your clinical work. So when folks ask about, Aspen and how involved is Aspen Dental Management, our owners are basically as involved or as uninvolved as they want to be. Have you guys experienced that?
Yeah, 100%.
And things like that.
Yeah.
We do have some owners that are very much like, I want to be involved with every single hire. And then we have some owners that are like, hire whoever you want as long as, they're great and they're nice and they can get along with people. And like Dr. Morocco said, I think we do kind of hire towards personality, that it kind of goes back to our culture again. Like every office is a mini culture. And you as the associate, or when you become your MCD, you are the kind of like the maker of that culture, And like you said, Dr. Morocco, when you have a DA that's awesome, you want to cherish them because they do so much for you guys, right? Is it a different experience from dental school to now?
Oh, yeah. I tell them they're ready to go to dental school. They're 50% dentists because, I know I struggled with making temporaries and they're making it for me. So that's amazing. Awesome. Yeah. Great.
Awesome. Okay. So here's a good question. Is there anything you wish you would have known while you were looking for jobs before starting work? Is there anything you wish you would have known while you were looking for jobs before starting to work?
Yeah, reality is tough. The real world is not what dental school is like. Honestly, what I feel like I would have loved to know is basically just be more confident in your treatment planning. No matter how confident you feel in dental school, once you go out there in the real world, it's completely different. I had a great experience clinically in the clinic and I did many cases. But then at the same time, once you're there, you being the only person that patient is looking for and looking at and then asking you questions about their mouth and what you're going to do with their own teeth, it kind of hits different. because there's no one to kind of like fall back on. Like, yes, there is your mentors and all that stuff, but you also have to be confident to not look like a fool in front of the patients too. So I guess that part really. Also, dentistry is really tiring in the beginning. It's exhausting just because you're not used to the workload that you're used to in dental school. It's a lot of hard work until you get to where you want to get to. So I think that's mainly what I would have wanted to know, or someone to tell me before I started work.
Like that. Dr. Morocco, do you feel the same way, or do you have anything to add?
Yeah, very similar. Like my POP laughs at me all the time because I'm like, can you come help me with this extraction? I've never seen one like this. She goes, Doc, like, you've been out here 3 months. Like, I know you did a lot in school, but you know, there's so much to see and so much to learn. That's the thing, as ready and as confident as you felt in clinic and as good you were doing, and the faculty was like, wow, this is the best. You're going to see so much more, and you're not going to feel the best some days. And I knew that was going to be part of it, but until it really hits you, you don't realize, like, wow, this is real life. So yeah.
Like, that's great, because the next question is, what has been the hardest adjustment in the real world as a dentist from when you were a student? So I guess you guys pretty much kind of answered that, right?
Yeah, it's not being that confident, like you're the D4, you know, you're teaching your D3. Yeah, you're the one now. You know, you have doctors with years of experience on. You've seen so much. Do it in seconds. I mean, the other doctors extract teeth like butter. I just, by the time I have my shield on and get all my PPE on, it's already out. And I'm like, oh, right then. So it's things like that. You're no longer the best, you know, but it's good because that's how you grow, when you see somebody and you want to, you know, that's motivation. So
Yeah,
absolutely. And I need to stop following you guys on Instagram. A lot of my doctors that post all their extractions and like all their work, and I'm like, lunch, guys. Skipping through your stories. I love that. All right, so we have quite a few more questions. Let's see how many we can get through. So there's quite a few COVID questions, so let's just kind of jump into those, right? COVID's been a crazy time. It's really shifted how everyone does everything. So let's kind of jump into a couple of those questions. So one of the questions that populated us, are you worried about PPE shortage, and what steps are you taking to make sure that our doctors and hygienists have the appropriate protective equipment at your offices? Have you guys had any issues with PPE shortage in your office?
I can mention on that because so part of the reason why it kind of took me a little bit longer to start with working with Aspen was obviously due to COVID, because I didn't know if I would still have my job, because everything was like so, you know, uncertain back in March, let's say, or April. And honestly, one of the things that my regional manager was saying is that they wanted to make sure that the offices are open with enough PPE. So if there is a second wave of COVID, or there is a shortage somewhere else in the United States, that we still have our own PPE for the staff, the doctors, to have. That way we're prepared if something happens. So I don't think there's a shortage anymore, at least with Aspen. So that has been my experience. Also the office, obviously everyone wears masks all the time. Every staff that walks in has to fill out a questionnaire daily. If they have any symptoms, their temperature gets taken at the door before walking in. Every patient that walks in has the same questionnaire, temperature taken, a rinse that's been given to the patients to kind of, you know, try to kill as many germs as they can. But so, I mean, I think Aspen has done a great job kind of trying to limit the virus as much as possible.
Awesome. Same with you, Dr. Morocco. You've had a good experience with like no issues with PPE and everyone.
Right. Now I don't even think about that there was a time there was a shortage. Like I said, I started 3 months ago when we just opened up from COVID. I remember N95s were kind of the hot commodity, like where everybody was fighting over kind of, but we had them in. We just were switching between 2 every other day. And this is where the part, like Rebecca said, you got to stand up for yourself if you feel something's not right. So maybe the POP doesn't even know the rules, like they're not that involved or something like that. There was another doctor, she's like, no, we can't be wearing the same N95s every day. We have to switch. So then we got to, and we were doing that. So really now it's not even an issue. I'm pretty sure in one of my other offices, we switch it every day. So
good. And like, I mean, you have the support of this massive organization, right? Where I think we're Henry Schein's biggest client. We have tons of equipment. We have tons of PPE. I just went and got my teeth cleaned last week, and I was like, oh, I can't even see your face. You have like multiple masks and head shields and just everything. And they keep it at 60 degrees in there, which I'm pretty sure is standard now, but I'm like, like an igloo in the office. But I tried that delicious rinse as well. But I felt very safe. Like I felt like, okay, you know, they took my temperature, they made me wait outside. They take it very serious. And it makes me think, what about the private practices that, you know, have the shortage of PPE, or that don't have, you know, a massive kind of corporation to take lead and to do all these, you know, with all these different policies. So I'm glad that you guys are having a really good experience. So another COVID question that popped up was, what changes are you making now when you're seeing patients with COVID? So has your day-to-day changed at all besides the screenings and stuff, you know, when you see your patients?
Just limit how many people are in the waiting room, asking a questionnaire, taking their temperature, and then us just our extra PPE. There's no more just wearing your scrubs. I was joking, I'm like, I've paid so much for these nice, cute scrubs, and I'm covered in PPE, so nobody can see it. But other than that, I mean, I think I've been since COVID started. That's why with Aspen, that's why I feel like it's just become normal. But I think what we used to know with dentistry is not that anymore. We're definitely completely covered. I make sure I follow my DAs around, make sure they wipe everything. Not just for my patient safety, my own. I don't want to touch a mouse that's been touched with a glove or something like that. So I think just being extra, and it falls on you too. You're the doctor. You make sure your staff is doing all that.
Good. All right, so here's a good one. If I start as an associate, how quickly can I become a managing clinical director or a lead at Aspen Dental? Have any of you guys had that conversation about what that career path looks like for you?
Yeah.
Go for it. Whoever wants to answer that.
Honestly, depends on you and how willing you're willing to throw yourself out there, pretty much. And if you want to become an MCD or, you know, the lead dentist, let your owner know and let the office manager know, because that's how basically you'll be trained in a way. So it's basically you get out of it as much as you put in a sense. So for example, my owner knows that I eventually would want to be a lead dentist. And then when I got to the office that I'm training at, the lead dentist at that office already knew that I wanted to become eventually a lead dentist. And he basically, we started this whole conversation of what I need to do and how to go about it. And it's, you know, it depends on the doctor pretty much.
Have you started having that conversation, Dr. Morocco, about your next steps with your career?
Yeah, so I work for a couple of POPs and I've had it with both of them. And like I said, eventually I want to be a lead dentist, but I just kind of want to ease into it. And it's not something I see. I think taking on the new office and opening it as an associate is a lot for me. And I'm going to, you know, that's my growing. And then we'll see where we go after that. But yeah, we've had that conversation for sure. And that's how I'm being trained for eventually lead dentist. So.
Good. So, I mean, that's a great question because we have a lot of opportunities, right? You can come in and pick your own career path. If you want to come in as an associate and stay as an associate for a while, that's great. You know, you learn, your hand skills get better. But if you do see that next step in your career and you know that becoming a managing clinical director is, you know, is what you want out of your career next, then those are the conversations you definitely want to have with your owners. And then once you become an MCD, they kind of treat you like, you know, that's your office. You kind of run the office as if you are the owner. It's kind of your initiation to the POP program on whether or not, you know, it's going to be a right fit for you to become an owner with Aspen. So you definitely pick your own career path and you have those conversations with your, with the owners on, you know, whether or not that's something that you want to do. So I'm glad that you guys are both having those conversations already. That's good. All right, let's see. What other questions have we got here? I really want to do implants. Does Aspen do implants? That's pretty straightforward. Are you experiencing implants yet?
We're just treatment planning for them, and we have a surgeon that does it. But initially, before COVID, we talked about it and bringing it in, and me kind of helping start that up. But I think it's kind of delayed us on that. So as of right now, we just have a surgeon doing them.
As part of your training, also you get with Aspen, you get free CE courses.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of them are implants, and there is a specialist that basically does the CEs for you, and it's based off of on a time period, pretty much. So yes, you can do implants as many as you want or as little as you want. I know my lead dentist does not do implants because he chooses not to. So the oral surgeon places them for him if we need any. But if you want to place them and you feel comfortable with that, then obviously that's your choice.
Yeah, absolutely. We're doing a big initiative. I know that, you know, we had the big Invisalign initiative.
Yeah.
So all the offices have Atero scanners now, and they're doing Invisalign. So most of you guys hopefully are doing Invisalign or at least prepping and getting certified. And then the next big push is in implants. So basically it's allowing whoever wants to do implants to get certified and go to training, and the owners are all getting certified, and then it's just going to kind of trickle down. So definitely a huge opportunity for implants with Aspen. So that was a good question. Let's see, we got so many, guys. Let me find a good one for you. Okay, so here's one. What does your current quota look like? So we kind of touched on that earlier. Do you guys have any quotas or any metrics per se that you need to hit?
We have a goal of kind of end of the month of, I don't even know because I'm not that involved with the metrics. Like nobody expects it out of me. So right now is just, I know that I got to push myself, and I want to add to that, but honestly, I don't have a quota, and I'm not sure how I add to our metrics.
Yeah, so we don't have, there's really not a quota. I mean, it's not, you don't have to have a certain amount of cases or a certain amount of things or crowns, or there's nothing like that with Aspen. You do the work that you feel comfortable doing. And then, you know, you work with your POP, right, to figure out what your schedule is going to look like or your treatment planning is going to look like.
Goals of what we're trying to aim.
Exactly. And if you want to get better at a specific, you know, procedure, then those are the goals that you set with your owners, right? Okay, cool. So here's a good one. How many new patients are you seeing per day? When you first started, did you see less, and did that pick up with time? So Dr. Morocco, you've been there for a couple months. When you first started, were you seeing less patients and it's kind of trickled up?
We were kind of limiting, and now we're almost back to normal, but we're trying to see more new patients. A lot of them have been, you know, lost their dentist through COVID, whether they didn't open back up, closed down completely. So there's a lot of new patients that are looking for a dentist, and this is kind of my time to shine, where I'm trying to bring in patients. But I think we're averaging, like I said, I'm in so many offices, and maybe 6, 5, and our goal is usually about 5-ish. I try to but again, a lot of them are not showing either because they're scared or whatever it is. So it's no like we have to kind of thing.
Right. Have you started seeing new patients yet, Dr. Tola?
Yeah, I have. So depending on the office, you usually get about an average of like 6 patients a day, new patients a day.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously some of them don't show up, like Blagina said, but the ones that do show up. So the first couple of days that I was at the office, I basically was just shadowing. And then yesterday and today, I've been seeing new patients on my own and doing the treatment plan, and kind of having my lead dentist overlook at everything, just making sure that, you know, we agree, or if I have any questions or something like that, or I wasn't sure about, that we talk about that. And then, yeah. So I think today I saw like about 4 new patients.
Good. I think the average with Aspen is anywhere from like 6 to 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you guys are right on cue. And yeah, I mean, we did have some drop off because of COVID. Like you said, a lot of people were just kind of scared of what, what the dentists look like. But now that, things are opening up and there's so much PPE, I think people are getting more comfortable and they're definitely coming back. It's picking up for sure. So we mentioned CEs. How much money towards CEs do we offer here at Aspen? Have you guys been taking advantage of the CE courses?
Yeah. I remember when COVID happened and we were already part of Aspen, we got an email saying that there is this online learning and we created an account and we basically did a bunch of free CE. It was all free, 1 hour CE. They were just to pass time because we weren't doing anything. But I mean, as far as I know, all the CEs that are provided by Aspen are free, unless there are other ones that I haven't, heard of, but I don't know.
Yeah, we have a massive online library with free CE courses. And then if there's a specific training, whether it's Invisalign or implants that you want to attend, and it's a certification and in Chicago or somewhere else, then a lot of times you work that out with your POP where they'll pay for the class and then you just pay for your hotel or, that's all negotiated. But our online library is completely free. And when COVID hit, Aspen actually launched, like you said, Dr. Tola, unlimited CE courses for anyone. So for the students, take advantage of that, guys. I'll post the link, or if you guys are interested, reach out to me. It's free CE. I think that's going to go to the end of the year, or maybe even till March. And that's free CE to anyone in the dental industry, which is kind of nice. That was huge. They got tons of sponsorship for that. And I mean, it's great. We've had tons of people take advantage of that. So please take advantage of that. All right, guys. So we're going to wrap it up here. We have time for maybe one more question. So let's see what I can find for you guys. There's so many. A lot of these are just kind of repetitive. Let's go with this one. So what type of patients does Aspen typically see at their practices, and do you accept Medicaid at your offices?
Gosh, me and insurances, I'm still getting credentialed with a lot of them, so we're on the Medicaid question, but the types of patients, it really depends where the office is. I have an office in a nicer area where obviously it's going to be higher income patients and all that, and maybe more self-pay, and then it's really a mixture, but so it's obviously a lot of dentures, but it's a lot of fillings and Invisalign. We do a lot of Invisalign, just crowns, just normal things, normal dentistry. So
normal dentistry. And we do see a lot of dentures because you guys have your own denture labs, right? Both offices.
Which is really nice.
I was gonna say, how has that shifted from when you were a student?
You got to be best friends with your lab tech, because I go in there and I'm like, how do I adjust this? And he'll help out. So it's really great. You can come right in the op and figure out why it's an open bite for you if you don't, and they can fix it right there and then. So that's really
that.
Yeah,
I love that. And they're right there. So the turnaround is instantaneous.
Within days.
Awesome. Dr. Tola, do you have a specific patient that comes to see you, or is it pretty all over the place as well, like across the board?
It's also a wide range, honestly. I don't know if we accept Medicaid. I don't think we accept adult Medicaid. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I don't think we do.
We don't.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. But yeah, as Blagina said, it kind of depends on the office that you go to. The office that I'm currently at, it's mainly, it's honestly a mixture of everything. There's patients that want to pay for a full over full and all on four, like implants and dentures, and some patients just want a normal denture or just a filling, but then you also have patients that just want all crowns and veneers and bridges. So it really it's a good mixture of literally everything.
Awesome. And I mean, our offices do take almost every insurance.
Yeah.
And then they're self-pay. I mean, the focus of Aspen is we wanted to break down barriers and be open to whoever wanted to come in and needed work, right? We're not trying to limit people with specific insurance. We don't really take Medicaid patients. And I know that when you get credentialed, a lot of the times Medicaid is kind of looped into a lot of different insurances. So one thing that I would recommend, and we've come across this with a lot of new grads, is do not opt out of Medicaid, thinking that I don't want to see Medicaid patients, so I'm going to opt out of it. That ends up, when you opt out, it usually is an opt out for like 1 to 3 years. So if you go work at an office that has intertwined insurances like Delta that does take Medicaid, it's very difficult for you to see patients. So you'll only be seeing like self-pay, or it becomes a little messy. So for my 2021 grads, do not opt out of Medicaid. Even if you are going to be working for an office that's not going to take it, it gets a little messy with your credentialing. But I think that's all we got, guys. Is there, I mean, I wasn't able to finish all the questions. We have a couple on here, but if any of you guys out there that didn't get your question answered and still have, you know, some questions, please reach out to me. You guys have my email address. If you have any questions regarding positions, if you have any questions regarding my 2 lovely guests and, you know, maybe want to shadow an office, do not hesitate to reach out. I mean, we're definitely here to support you and answer your questions. And then for those of you that were possibly interested in those CE courses, let me see if I can pull that up really quick. I'm going to pull that up really quick. So do you see it?
Yeah.
Oh, aspendentalce.com/welcome. This is a basically free CE online courses for anyone in the dental industry. So for the students out there, if you are interested, create an account and take full advantage, because these are all free, and I believe they're going until March of 2021. So that's really huge. Again, it's aspendentalce.com/welcome. Take full advantage of that. And we're gonna be wrapping up here, guys. So thank you so much for jumping on. You guys were so awesome. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
We had some great questions. I might harass you guys to do another one of these for me. I hope you guys had fun. Thank you again for everyone else that participated and all the great questions. Please reach out if you have any questions. But that's it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
And out.
Good luck,
Have
everyone.
fun.
Bye.
My baby finally started crying, so now you know. Of course.
Oh, good.
You guys have a great night. Have fun at work tomorrow and have a good rest of your week.
You too.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye.